The world of Zar, or the realm of particles, is one of the dimensions of creation mentioned in the Quran and Islamic narrations. According to the beliefs of Islamic scholars, this realm is associated with the time before the creation of Adam or contemporaneous with his creation. In the realm of particles, all human beings who are destined to come to this world until the day of judgment were created in the form of particles. According to Allama Tabatabai's perspective, the mentioned phenomenon is related to the world of Malakut, or the realm of kingdom, which represents the ultimate reality beyond this world. In this realm, which transcends all times and places, all human beings and creatures are present in the presence of God, and no being is absent. It is as if all the descendants of Adam have gathered in the presence of their forefathers and stand before God. In this state, each individual attains knowledge through direct experience and finds undeniable evidence of God's existence and lordship. However, when human beings are placed within the sphere of time, changes, and worldly events, they become so engrossed and preoccupied that they forget about that direct experiential knowledge they had with their Creator. The distractions of the world lead them to lose touch with that spiritual connection and knowledge they once possessed. However, there are numerous stories, narratives, and concepts that support this theory. The following real-life story is an example of such accounts. One of the great scholars and writers recounts, "On a sleepless night, I was restless and tired, unable to fall asleep no matter what I did. So, I got out of bed and went to my study room, where I had arranged books on the subject of the soul, its nature, attributes, and effects, to further investigate the spiritual matters. Suddenly, the sound of several sparrows chirping as if in distress outside the room caught my attention, so I went out of the room. The night was very dark, but on the large veranda of our house, around 40 to 50 luminous objects resembling flickering flames were moving back and forth. Undoubtedly, the sound I heard came from them. At first, I thought I might be imagining things or dreaming, so I rubbed my eyes and shook myself a little to make sure I was fully awake and not just fantasizing. After a while, I sat by the veranda and continued observing these luminous objects intently. In the meantime, my spouse, who had noticed my absence for a while and was feeling a bit curious, had followed me outside. When she saw me staring at these luminous objects, she was startled, and I asked her, "Do you see what I'm seeing? Are you witnessing these radiant things scattered around?" She replied, "Yes, indeed." "What are these luminous objects that we see here?" Meanwhile, one of those luminous objects approached my spouse, and involuntarily, she opened her mouth, and the radiant object was swallowed by her. The rest of the luminous objects disappeared from our sight. I was surprised and asked her, "Why did you swallow it?" She replied, "I didn't realize what happened, I just felt a cool and fragrant breeze in my mouth. When I closed my eyes and opened them again, the luminous objects were gone." I said, "Did you not notice that one of them entered your mouth, and you swallowed it?" She said, "No, I didn't. I only felt the cool sensation in my mouth, but I thought it was just a natural sensation. That night, and the nights before. And after that, I was engrossed in studying spiritual matters. Moreover, my spouse had been pregnant for 4 months, and I knew that after 4 months, the soul enters the fetus in the womb. I thought to myself, could it be that this luminous object is the very soul of the fetus, which is supposed to enter my spouse's womb during these days? This idea preoccupied my mind for several days, and every time I discussed it with the scholars of science of the soul, they couldn't understand the matter either. However, they acknowledged that my hypothesis was plausible. As 4 months passed from this event, one night, I dreamt again of those luminous objects gathered on the veranda of our house, making strange sounds. But this time, I could see them in the form of tiny, radiant human-like beings, and I could understand their words. They were saying to each other, "Now, Hamid is returning to join us," expressing their joy in this regard. Furthermore, due to my fondness for my friend named Hamid, who had passed away in a car accident, I intended to name my child after him if it were a boy. So, this sentence shook me, and I woke up in terror. When I regained consciousness, I noticed that my wife was moaning in her sleep. Suddenly, with my own eyes, I saw the same luminous object emerge from her mouth, still in a state of sleep, and it headed towards the veranda. As I hurriedly ran towards the veranda, I couldn't witness anything there. Meanwhile, my wife had woken up from her sleep and was experiencing labor pains. Although she still had a month left until her due date, we immediately rushed her to the hospital. That night, with great distress, she gave birth, but sadly, our son was stillborn. After witnessing these two experiences, I became certain about the existence of a realm prior to this world for souls, as there is no other explanation or interpretation that could justify what I saw.